more minute, everyone. If you do not have permission to record, it's making me go one by one to give everyone permission. If you need permission to record, please let me know in the chat feature. I'm trying to make sure everyone has that permission. I think some people joining on different devices don't have that option. Is everyone good? All righty. If no one else asks to record, I believe we're just about ready to get going. Again, everyone, submit questions in the chat feature. Please leave yourself muted throughout the interviews, and we've got about 15 or 20 minutes with the mayor. And with that, Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off, but I will continue to moderate. But if you want to go ahead and begin before I read the first question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I just wanted to start. I know you all may or may not have had a chance to read our statement that we issued just via an email, but I want to say first that we are not pulling out of Knox County schools. Instead, we are saying that it's just time to revisit the memorandum of agreement and to update it in light of changed circumstances. I was a 10-year member of the school board and chair for 3 years, so I very much know and understand the need for school safety, and KPD will always answer the call all across the city, including and most importantly for our schools. So just wanted to make that abundantly clear, and also to say that I specifically said that the current memorandum of agreement, nothing changes at all until the very end of this school year, until the last day of the last graduation. So this gives us some time to have those conversations with other people to make sure that we are working together as a whole community, schools, parents, community members, other law enforcement entities, including the school security division of Knox County Schools, to make sure that we're protecting our schools and the many adults who serve them every day so diligently. So that's what I want to start with, and now I'll take some questions.
All right, Mayor, the first one comes from Jesse Mayshark. The decision today apparently came as a surprise to school officials. Can you walk us through the decision?
Yeah, I think this has been something that has been sort of under discussion for quite some time, and on my mind, I guess, for various years, I suppose, since I was on the school board. But recent things have made it more on everybody's minds, I believe, and the resolution that the school board discussed tonight was certainly something that brought it to my attention in a more critical way. So I had the opportunity to speak to Superintendent Thomas before I shared the letter, and also with obviously my chief of police and law director, and so we were having that conversation. But I believe the resolution, and I'm not sure I wasn't able to follow all of the discussion tonight, but having that discussion, that's what this letter says, that we are ready to be part of that discussion.
All right, the next question is from Jenna Garza. How much money did KPD earmark for the SRO program, and how will the department or city allocate those dollars going forward? Will it go back into the communities?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question, because I just wanted to give some context. Right now, KPD has a total of 14 officers assigned to various schools in the city of Knoxville. Just by comparison, Knox County Sheriff's Office has 32 officers assigned to schools outside the city limits, and the school system has 105 sworn, armed, very professional and well-trained officers assigned to schools throughout the county. And that's a big difference. When I was on the school board, there were about 30 school security officers, and I got off the school board in 2014 after 10 years of service. And so now in 2021, that has increased to 105. So that's a changed circumstance that gives us a need to examine that partnership and how we allocate our resources. And those, if a memorandum of understanding means that we have fewer officers in our schools come next school year, then I know that we have we have a great need for them to be serving out on patrol all across the city. But these are things that we can find out when we have these discussions, where the officers most how does that work best for our schools, and what will that look like in the coming school year. I look forward to those discussions.
All right, the next question is from Monica Cast. What specifically caused you to pull out of the memorandum before the end of the MOA?
Well, the memorandum doesn't have an end date. It just is an open-ended thing that says that any party to it can withdraw with at least 30 days notice. So it seems to me like now's the time to have these discussions and not withdraw from our participation in school security. That's super high priority, but just to have this discussion and work on a new memorandum of understanding that accepts that that encounters or that includes our changed circumstances. The increase in school security team, and also I believe that the school system is going to be able to add a number of mental health professionals to serve on the school premises, and that's an important element to the socio-emotional health and well-being of our schools as well. So it's all integrated, and that's why we need to have this conversation.
All right, another question from Monica. School board member Daniel Watson suggested having a task force that includes community stakeholders. Do you have a clear plan for how to include students, parents, and teachers in the discussion for a new MOA?
Well, I thought Mr. Watson's idea was a good one, and he asked if we would participate. And by this letter I sent today, I am saying, yes, we will participate. And I think that is, I was on the school board again for 10 years, and I know that the 9 board members and the entire administration takes school security very seriously. So we will follow their lead in how that task force or any kind of stakeholder group may be set up. We'd be one of the stakeholders at the table, but we will welcome the leadership of the schools.
From JJ Stambaugh, and Mayor, I believe you answered part of this, but did you consult with school officials or Kcso before making this decision?
Well, the decision is that we're just going to have more discussion. So the decision is hopefully that the schools and the sheriff's department, as well as other community leaders and partners, will come and have this discussion. But yes, we did. I know Chief Thomas spoke to Sheriff Spangler. I spoke to the superintendent and Sharm Allen, and sent emails out to other people. But I didn't have a chance to speak to every single person on the people who got that letter, but I spoke to a few people.
All right, Mayor, sorry, I'm adding another reporter onto the call real quickly here. Give WATE a chance to log in, and I've got them set up to record. Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, it looks like they are now on. All right, so the next question is from Danielle Katz. How do you believe the addition of mental health professionals will change school safety?
Well, I think that's something that the school system has decided to invest in, and I applaud them for doing so. I know that our schools, the staff and the students have a lot of challenges and trauma they're experiencing, and the pandemic has made that worse. So I'm thrilled that they're able to make those investments. And I think that good mental health means people are less likely to have other kinds of crises that can lead to the requirement for police intervention. So I think it's a good move, and looking forward to seeing how they decide to deploy those resources.
All right, next question is from Katie Donaldson. It says, you mentioned the shortage of KPD officers. How much did that factor in this decision? And then she went on to say, you mentioned that in your joint statement with Chief Thomas.
Yes, Chief Thomas and I have been working very closely, and this is done in conjunction and in collaboration with her expertise, including challenges with staffing. So yes, this is no surprise that we need more KPD officers, and so if we have a new agreement and there's the same number of people needed in schools, then we'll make that happen. But if there's a lesser need and we work that out with the schools and other stakeholders, then we will definitely find good use for those officers out patrolling the streets and communities of the city of Knoxville.
Jesse Mayshark says, so just to be clear, you're not saying that there won't be KPD officers in schools this fall, but if there are, it would be under a new MOA.
That's exactly right. we may very well continue to have KPD officers in schools. We just want to have the conversation with our school leaders and with our school board members and with other community stakeholders to see how best that can work out, and to just update our understanding, our roles and responsibilities to make sure they reflect the current circumstances.
All right, the next question is from JJ Stambaugh. Did the coalition's request for SROs to be pulled from schools play a role in your decision? Also, the coalition made some serious allegations against officers in its letter. Do you know if KPD conducted IA investigations into those cases, and if so, what the results were?
I don't know anything about those allegations. My letter today was primarily in response to changing circumstances, in response to the resolution that the Board of Education was discussing tonight, and just overall circumstances. I mean, obviously, we've had an officer-involved shooting at Austin East High School. That certainly has, been part of my thoughts on this decision.
Next, we have several questions from Claire Heddles. First, what exactly will change on June 12th? Will all 14 KPD officers currently working on school campuses be relocated?
Well, school officers don't serve during the summer anyways, so nothing changes this school year, and over the summer, it'll be the same routines that have been happening during the summer of every school year for years and years. What we hope to do is use that time to have the conversations and speak with school leaders, school board leaders, other stakeholders, and find out what a new and updated memorandum of agreement will be.
She went on to ask, did the open letter issued earlier this week from the Education Coalition and 6 local organizations influence your decision?
No.
The next question, does this decision represent any change in your feelings about the officers' actions at Austin East on April 12th, which you previously called justified?
No.
Next question from Monica Cass. Do you support school security officers who are not KPD officers carrying guns?
I think that's a decision that the school board and school system need to make. I think it's great that they have taken security so seriously, and that's a great compliment to the KPD. And I know Chief Paducas is a former leader within the Knoxville Police Department, and he's brought a high level of professionalism and training to the school security division, and that's all to the good. So those are decisions. I highly respect the governing authority of the Knox County Board of Education and trust their judgment in those decisions.
Jordan Brown from WATE wants to know, when will a new MOA be discussed and how long could schools go without officers?
Well, just want to reiterate that of the various school security people in the school system, there's 105 are school security division employees, so there's nothing's changed there. 32 are Knox County Sheriff's Department assigned officers, and just 14, less than 10% of the total number are KPD employees. So so we're only talking about 14 of 151 officers around the county, and I welcome and look forward to the chance to talk about a new memorandum of understanding and how we deploy those resources to best meet community needs.
All right, our next question is from Jenna Garza. Would you consider reinstating KPD if that is what the board wanted?
Absolutely.
All right, the next question from Monica Cast. What specifically would you like to see changed between this MOA and a new one?
I don't have any specific things. These are things that I think warrant community discussion and discussion of law enforcement professionals and school safety professionals and community leaders.
Another question from Monica Cast. Knoxville Police have had trouble recruiting SROs. Is that a factor in your decision?
I don't think they have had trouble recruiting SROs. I'm not sure where that person got that information. To my knowledge, our SROs, who school resource officers is the name that we use for KPD officers assigned to schools, and they all love their jobs and enjoy the relationships they're working to build with students, and also providing security and safety help as needed. So I think it's a job that a lot of officers seek to have. So we haven't had any trouble recruiting SROs.
All right. If anyone else has any other questions, can you please put them in the chat feature? I'm going to give you guys about 1 more minute here. And if anyone on this call did not get the joint statement from Mayor Kincannon, please reach out to me. I'll make sure you get that. Monica Cast has another question. Mayor, I was referring to the footage from the Brassfield case telling officers not to apply for SRO positions.
I don't remember that. I mean, I can't speak to that because I'm not really familiar with that level of detail from that case. I just can't speak to that.
That might be something better posed to Chief Thomas tomorrow if you want to continue down that line of questioning there. Katie Donaldson says, what is the bottom line takeaway you want the public to take away from this decision?
The bottom line takeaway is that Knoxville and Knoxville Police Department are committed to the safety of all the people of the city, including our children and everyone who works to serve them in our schools. What this decision is saying that we are ready to have a discussion with the public, with the school system, with the school board and other community stakeholders as to how best to deploy our law enforcement officers to protect and serve the people of the city. And a high priority, but it's time to revisit the agreement and see how we can do better.
Isabel Lohman writes, if Mayor Kincannon does not have any specific suggested changes for the MOA, why pull out SROs on June 12th instead of letting the Board of Education make a decision about how a new MOA should be determined?
They still have the total ability to determine how an MOA is negotiated and decided. June 12th was the date I put in because it's summertime, school's out, and SROs are not assigned to schools over the summer. So it seemed like a very opportune time to have these discussions, and sometimes setting a deadline encourages those discussions.
All right. Anyone else? It looks like that's going to do it. And we're nearing to that 15 to 20 minute mark here, Mayor. So thank you very much. If anyone has any follow-up questions, please let us know. And I think that will do it for this evening. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Mayor.